Kia ora everybody. Well, BDO's Business Wellbeing Index for April is out, and the report shows us that the WHO5 index is down to 68 nationally, which means that our business leaders are facing some really big issues out there. Now, Julie Cressey is the General Manager for TELUS Health, which provides business wellbeing coaching to people. And Julie, what sort of things are you hearing from our business leaders?
Well, we're definitely still seeing the cures for impacts of the last few years. I mean, for business leaders, there's just such an exceptional pressure, both on themselves, but also on their people. So what we're really seeing is business leaders tend to wear not only the emotional burden of what's facing them in their own roles, but I think what's facing them for all of those that they support and look after too. So we're definitely seeing it take its toll.
And what are your call volumes like right now? Have you seen an increase in this period?
Yeah, look, call volumes are high. We're definitely seeing more leaders calls. So our business, through the Zero Resistance Program, we support both team members and leaders. And in the past, possibly we had more of the team members calling us, but we've definitely seen an increase in business leaders reaching out for support.
And what are the challenges that these business leaders are facing when they call? Is there anything that they've got in common, Julie?
Yeah, look, it's twofold. So they're either ringing us to get support for their people, because I think as business leaders, just because somebody has been moved into a leadership role or set up and run a successful company doesn't always mean that they know what to do when it comes to the mental health and well-being of their people. So sometimes they're ringing us just to sense check the support that they've been putting in place, how to best support their people and what to do and what to say, because occasionally they just don't know. And then secondly, leaders are ringing for themselves. I mean, with all that's gone on, and the pressures in the working environment, it definitely goes home as well. So relationship issues is a biggie for us. We see a lot of people giving us a call for support in that particular space. Conflict is another one. And actually, of late, we've really seen an increase in aggressive customer behaviour. So leaders not quite knowing what to do and how to support their people best when it comes to that aggressive frontline behaviour.
And are you seeing a link between business performance, e.g., financial difficulty, and mental health well-being?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, the reality is when somebody's struggling and somebody isn't able to, I suppose, bring their whole self to work, they're definitely just never going to be as productive. I mean, one of the key things that we're seeing is that financial impact on individuals and business leaders themselves, have possibly been struggling to, balance the books, keep everything going. From a supplier is costing more, staff are costing more, everything's costing more, and that itself takes its emotional toll on people. So we really have seen that playing out.
And what are some of the common tips that you've been sharing with business leaders to help them navigate these big issues?
Look, I think the key thing is to talk about it. We're definitely a country of being very stoic and not really saying anything. But I think the reality is, the old adage, problem shared is a problem halved. I think if people can talk about it, they often find that others are struggling too. And just that vulnerability makes a really big difference. So we tend to talk in our space about empathetic leadership, just coming to work, being yourself, talking about what's going on for you, and equally sharing, and hopefully your staff in turn will share with you too. Because often just some element of talking to somebody about the burden that you're carrying can just make a huge difference. So whether it's through counsellors, which is what we do, we have a lot of clinicians that people ring in through the Zero Resistance Program and our other customers and get support, or else just with each other, just that camaraderie of actually having people around you who you can share your concerns and issues with, just makes a huge difference rather than just keeping it all to yourself.
And what about businesses that feel like their well-being is in a good space at the moment? What can they do to preserve that?
Yeah, well, it's great if it is. That's fantastic. It means they've obviously got some really good things in place. I mean, preserving it, look, it does sit on the leaders. I mean, leaders really do set the tone in any organisation. And one of the key things, that we really encourage is open and honest communication. I mean, people like to know what's going on in the organisation. Whether it's good or bad, sometimes it's just a matter of sharing so that people feel connected and communicated with. I mean, one of the biggest, I think, voids often in organisations is that people just don't know what's going on, so they fill it themselves with worry and concern. So I think, in an organisation that's going well, keep up that communication. keep talking about mental health and well-being. The more proactive people can be around it, the better. We often find in our space we become, occasionally the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. People are calling us when they're severely stressed or distressed. And ultimately what we want is, people never to get to that stage. And so by organisations keeping these things in place and keeping talking about, how are people, how are they looking after themselves, what do they have in place to look after themselves on a daily or weekly basis, and sharing just makes such a difference.
And are business leaders themselves being proactive enough? Are they seeking help when they need it, or are they waiting until it's a bit late?
I think they wait, personally, and we definitely see it. So when leaders tend to be contacting us, they really are struggling. And that's because they, like I said before, just carry such a heavy burden, not only thinking about themselves, thinking about the organisation, often even the people that, their staff support. It is such a huge responsibility, and it's a really lonely place, leadership. And so therefore, I think people wait a bit too long to actually get support. And so we heavily encourage leaders, to either have a mentor, somebody that they're talking to on a regular basis, or it might be talking therapy through a clinician, like the work that we do through the Zero Assistance Program or through TELUS Health customers. But ultimately, early is always best, but we are still finding that people are waiting a bit too long.
All right, Julie, wrapping up now, if you're a Xero client, where can you go for some help and support?
Great question. Well, Xero are fabulous in the respect that they actually have the Zero Assistance Program in place that TELUS Health support. So they can ring us anytime, day or night, on an 0800 number, which is 0800 360 364. So that's actually managed by the TELUS Health team 24/7. Any day, any time that they feel the need to call, they can just give us a call. And through the Zero Assistance Program, Xero fund 2 free sessions on a per issue basis. So they pay for you to have support, which is just wonderful. So it's a well-used service. And as I always say to the Xeros, it really genuinely has saved lives in the past few years.
Thanks, Julie. And of course, it's great to see that BDO is a strategic global partner with Xero on that fantastic mahi. And thank you for your fantastic mahi. I'll let you get back to looking after our business leaders.
Thanks, Paddy. Lovely talking to you.